Hello, everyone. Welcome to this masterclass on how to convert your viewers to customers. Hello and welcome for those of you who are joining from the other side of the world. I guess good morning, good evening, wherever you are. I am one of those people that strongly believe that Facebook groups is a really great way to connect and build a sense of sort of community, as well as create that safe space for my audience to connect with others who are probably going through something similar as them, as well as deliver all of those sort of tips and tricks that I can teach, that I can share, create that impact. But ultimately, it's also where I source most of my clients from. Okay. So I do utilize that platform using, by the way, if you guys are just joining me for the first time, and if you don't know me, my name is Nilu Kamis. I am a marketing strategist and a community builder. So I help small business owners, particularly women who are heart-centered and who are building businesses without that stress of trying to become somebody else that they're not, market themselves in a way that is authentic and easy, right? Easy as in like it's easy to their personality. You're not trying to like become somebody you're not and become this salesy, sort of pushy salesperson to get your offers and your products and services sold. So creating social posts that bring you sales. When we are creating the right content, it becomes a lot easier to take your customers, your audience rather, your viewers, your leads, your followers, so to speak, in a customer journey, on your customer journey that you predefine, so that they are going step by step by step up the ladder, so that you are actually taking them on to the next phase of your offer ladder, or your offer stack, as I like to call it. So the reason I call it a stack is because we are, we as business owners, we cannot possibly sometimes give out all of the solutions that we want to give out using our free mediums, like this one that I'm doing right now. This is a free masterclass, but I cannot, give you all of the information that's in here within, a half an hour presentation, or a 1 hour presentation for that matter. So depending on your ideal customer and how you're delivering value to those customers, you're going to need to sort of organize your products, your services, especially this is mostly relevant to people who do, coaching or consulting. So a service-based business, you're going to need to sort of organize those solutions based on the problem you're solving. You're gonna need to organize the solutions in such a way that it's catering to the needs of those particular people in your audience. So what do I mean by that? Here's an example. Maybe you're creating solutions for, like myself, solutions for business owners, right? Like business owners who want to get themselves marketed out there. In this case, for me, so I'm going to use myself as an example. So you can then, relate it to your business by taking your particular circumstance as an example. So for me, that means, I come across people who are brand new in their business journey, or maybe they've had a business that's like a brick and mortar business, but they've never actually done online marketing, right? So I have structured my services in such a way so that if there's somebody that's brand new that comes to me, I can give them a certain package that says, okay, these are the things I'm gonna coach you on, and then the end result is going to be, we're gonna have this sort of structure built for you so that you can then take this and start promoting your product or offers by following a system that I teach them, right? Whereas the next level up would be something a little bit more in depth, right? So for the newbies, maybe they don't have a lot of capital to like spend for a coach. right? Maybe they're not there yet. So I have two different programs that I have. One is like a group coaching program where it's not as expensive from a price point, but they are able to then get in front of me in a group environment, right? But whereas my one-on-one coaching offers are delivered in such a way that people have more face time with me. I can give them more customized solutions, right? So those are a little bit more expensive. So similarly, in your business, when you're marketing on social media, it's really it can be really lucrative if you can make like a structure like that, so that when people come to you and say, and you recognize them as your ideal client, you have the ability to say, okay, well, here's what I can give to you, because this is the starting point of my services. But if that person is not there and they're at a higher level, then you can pick the next level and say, okay, well, this package is not going to work for you because you're above that. Let's start here, right? So the reason that we create these different packages, another reason, is you also have now different things that you can promote over a period of time, right? So think about if you just had one product that you were selling. Let's say you were selling I don't know, a hairbrush, right? I'm just using something that popped into my head here. Let's say you're selling a hairbrush. If you were every single day going and posting into your social media accounts, like your Facebook profile, hey, buy this hairbrush. By the way, this hairbrush has, X amount of bristles. This hairbrush does this and this and this. And you're only talking about the hairbrush, the one thing that you're selling. Your audience is going to, yes, at the beginning, some people might be like, ooh, that looks like a really cool hairbrush. What does it do? Ooh, it has these benefits. So people might buy it. But at some point, if the same people are seeing that post or your posts, they're going to get fed up of listening to the same thing every day, right? So how do you then, you need to have some sort of variety happening, right? So we talk about different strategies on how you can create interest in people, okay? So let's go to the next slide. I'm getting a little ahead of myself. I'm not I'll be very honest with you. I do these slides just to keep me on track, but I hardly ever stay on track. Okay, I just like to go with the flow, so bear with me. I will still cover everything that's on here, though. Okay, they just might not be in the particular order as the slides. All right. Okay, let me see what Janine is saying. Janine's saying, I see it, correct, cannot see you, just the PowerPoint. Which button? Oh, yeah, the button that I had to click was actually on my dashboard. It's not something that you would see, Janine. Sorry. I'm using this software called Ecamm Live, and I just did an update on it. So the button had, which usually is always on, is always pressed, had like unclicked itself when I did the update, I guess. So that's why my image wasn't coming up before. Okay, so let me go back to this window here so I can change. There we go. Okay, so so building an audience with the right people. So this is the first point that I want to bring across to you guys. It does not matter what you post, how many times you post, how much value you give, how many times that you're showing up in your timeline or your profile, whether you're doing video, whether you're doing amazing copywriting, whether you are constantly on social media and selling, it does not matter if you are building an audience full of the wrong people. This is so important to understand, guys. A lot of us struggle with this. I've struggled with it. I know I have struggled with it. I've helped clients who have struggled with this. So this is an important point to sort of revisit. And I wanted to put this at the beginning of the presentation because of this. When we're creating social posts, we tend to pay attention to all the technicalities. How do I get more awareness? How do I build more credibility? How do I do this? How do I do this? How often do I have to post? All of these things. But if the people that are following you, if the friends that are following you, because we start everything with that first layer, right, of relationships, of our community, our friends. If they are not the right kind of people for your business, if they don't have the need for what you are providing, no amount of hard work is going to work to convert those people into clients. That makes sense, right? Like, that is just, that's common sense. Like, if you are, if all of your friends were not business owners and your services were geared towards business owners, no brainer. And nobody is going to engage with your stuff, right? Well, I shouldn't say nobody's going to engage with it. Some things might still be relevant in a conversational manner, but that doesn't mean that there are the right customers, because none of those people are ever going to buy from you because they don't have a need. They don't have a problem that you are solving, right? So one thing that we need to do before we do anything, before we do content planning, before we, plan out our calendars and all of those things, we need to identify who those right people are. So this is where building your customer persona comes in. Now, a lot of people think that building a customer persona means that you're going to write down this this you know this character, this avatar, based on a fictional person, fictional character, right? That's not actually the case. When you're building your ideal customer persona, you must use a current or past customer that you would feel is or has been your dream client, that person that you would love to work with every day and you would be excited to work with every day because they are your dream customer. Now, you might not have that person right now. If it's somebody that you worked with in the past, that's okay. The only time that we would use a fictional character is if you are a brand new business and you've never had a customer before. This is the only time that as strategists or as a marketing consultant, we would use a fictional character. But we do not want to use fictional characters when we're building ideal customer personas. We only use that strategy just as sort of a placeholder while we're building everything else in that marketing plan, right? So we have something to start with. But most often, the customer persona that we build with a fictional character gets changed as we start marketing, as we start promoting, and as we sign up clients, right? So just know that if you're confused or if you've never done that, that's something that I just want to bring to the table, because I had somebody who I was chatting with a couple of weeks ago that said, well, I don't feel good about my customer persona because it's all fake. And then, we had this conversation. Hi, Rosie. Thanks for joining. Okay, so where was I? I should move this picture of myself somewhere else because it's covering my headline. Okay, where's the... I've got too many windows now. There we go. Okay, oh my goodness, now it's trying to do a fresh install. There we go. Now you can see the slide. Okay, so once you figure out who that ideal customer is, right? Then we start building our audience, right? Now, here's the thing. Here's another thing that when I started doing this as a business, like my marketing consulting practice, I actually spent a good year. My first year was spent doing audience building. I did not sell anything specific. I was building my audience because one thing, I didn't know who my ideal customer was because I'd never had a customer in that sense. Like, I've worked with different people in my previous businesses from a marketing standpoint, but I didn't have like a marketing ideal customer, right? So my customer persona was built on basically data that I had gathered with other experiences that I had, other customer personas I'd worked with in other businesses. So that helped me sort of iron down or get a basic understanding of who my ideal customer was. But that's changed drastically over the last 4 years now, right? So it is also a evolving sort of process. So once I understood who that person or persona was, then I started building that audience, right? And so the first year I spent building this mini audience that I wanted to work with. I wanted to get feedback from, because one of the beautiful things that happens when you start building this audience of the right people is they are going to tell you what they want. They're going to tell you, the solutions they're looking for. And then you can customize your solutions based on the data they give you, right? You can cater to their needs. And so let's talk about content now, because this is about creating content or posts that's going to help you convert your audience to customers, right? So how do we let's talk about general life. How do we create friendships? We meet somebody, we have a conversation, and we recognize there are things that we like about them or things that we have in common, or maybe they have a magnetic sort of personality and we fall in love with that, or maybe we are just intrigued with that. But what actually gets you connecting with them long term? Like these days, everything is about social media, right? Like you go to a party, you meet somebody. What do you do at the end of the party? You're like, hey, let's connect on Facebook or let's connect on Instagram so we can keep in touch, right? Or, those days, like before that was a thing, it was, exchanging phone numbers. Hey, give me your phone number. Nowadays, I find that less and less people are, inclined to share their phone number. They're more about, sharing their social media because they feel like that is a safer way to control how much interaction they have with somebody they don't know, right? So, that's sort of how we do it in real life. So why is it different to social media, right? Why is it that we expect all these things to happen very differently on social media? Human behavior is pretty much the same. The technology is an added sort of complication, but humans behave the same way. Okay, so think about when you're creating your posts. I always think, okay, how would the person that is reading this, if they were my ideal customer, how would they react to it? How would they see it? Would they be interested? Would it catch their attention? Would it, is it a magnetic piece of content? Is it going to get them to read through my whole post, right? Or are they going to actually watch my video? How I start that piece of content has a huge impact, in a sense. Are they going to watch it? Are they going to consume the whole thing? That is what determines if they're going to do that. So you need to ask yourself, what prompts someone, specifically your ideal customer, to follow you? What would make them follow you? Not just read that piece of content, but follow you. If a random stranger comes across your profile or a post that you've made, and they self-identify with the post that they are your ideal customer, because that's how we create content, right? We create content so that the people that read it or the people that watch that piece of content, the video, would be able to relate to what we're saying and then identify them as our ideal customer, right? So what is it that you can do to make that piece of content stand out and then make those people want to start following you? Because for me, I'll tell you what, for me personally, if I come across a piece of content and I consume that content and I find it was valuable for me, I'm going to follow it. So value has a huge influence. Like what you're saying has a huge influence on whether somebody is going to follow you or just scroll on by, right? So you have to determine what that is for your ideal customer. Going back to, keeps going back to that topic of ideal customer, but that needs to be identified. How do you keep them coming back for more? So basically, if they're following you, you know that they like you. They like the content that you shared. But how do you get their attention again and again? Now, this is a little bit trickier than just creating magnetic content, right? This has to do with knowing how the algorithm works in certain social platforms. So we're on Facebook right now, but let's say you've just connected with somebody brand new on Facebook. How then are you going to get those magnetic posts that you're creating in front of the people that have just befriended you or followed you? So this requires you to know a little bit about the algorithm and how it works, okay? But in general, I'll kind of give you a tip. Before you post, okay, and you should be posting every day, by the way. Before you post, go into your friends list, go through some of those people that either you've befriended just, in the last couple of days, or maybe you can create a list. Now, I do this. I teach my group coaching students how to do this. We create these lists. Now, lists are great because you can put all of the people that you've just connected with into one group, or all of the people you've just engaged with into one group, and then you can go into that list and then engage with them, right? So those would be your new leads or your engaged audience or your Facebook members, whatever that list is. And then when you actually post your content, the algorithm now knows, especially if they've responded back to your previous comments or likes, the algorithm knows who needs to see your current post, right? So that's just one way of doing it, okay? But getting that knowledge about what the algorithm is looking for and how Facebook prioritizes content, and what values Facebook is working on, or rather not values, but what are Facebook's goals in terms of growth, in terms of building community. If you know and understand those things, generally speaking, it's easier to get that content to the right people that are already following you. Okay, so the reason I wanted to bring this up is there are lots of people who build massive audiences, but because they're not staying up to date with what's going on in, on the platform, they lose their visibility to that audience. So they spend hundreds of thousands of dollars on ads sometimes. Sometimes it's organic marketing. But because they're not, as we grow, we get busier. We may not have time to sit there and chat with everybody. And what ends up happening is they lose those eyes on their content, right? So understanding and keeping up to date with the platform that you're on is really important as well. So posting every day is not enough. Why do I say that? Why do I say that? So let's check the next slide here. The reason for, where's my window now? Okay, here we go. Next, there we go. So you must continue to share your offers. That means if all you're doing is creating post after post after post of entertainment, of magnetic types of content where you're telling stories that are being consumed, that are getting comments and likes and hearts and shares and all of this, it's not going to give you any sales if you're not positioning your offers in front of the people that want your help, right? So, and I'm going to tell you very honestly, I was that person for that first year of when I was building that audience. I had people that came up to me and said, Nilu, I need this help. Can you help me? And I made myself in my head, one of my limiting beliefs. I made myself believe that I'm not ready to start giving out my services because I was still in that phase of building my audience. So what ended up happening though is when I finally said, you know what, this is nuts. I don't need to have, a 2,000 person Facebook group before I start selling. I actually started selling when I had close to 150 people in my group. Okay. And no, actually about 200 people in my group. And right away, I started getting customers in through my funnel, right? So what changed for me is I started sharing with people how I can actually help, right? I made little offers and not all of them worked, right? Not all of them worked because sometimes when it's a smaller audience specifically, people might say, oh, I need that help. But then when you go back to them, they might be like, well, I can't afford that, right? Or they might say, well, that's not what I'm looking for right now. Or they might say, well, I want this, this, and this. And you might not be in a place, especially for a new business, you might not be in a place where you can offer that. Maybe you don't have the right support. So not all of the offers will pan out. But if you don't test the waters, if you don't put stuff out there based on, remember I said at the beginning, if you're building the right audience, they'll tell you what they want, how they want you to help them. If you build those offers based on what they're asking for, then it becomes a lot easier for you to convert your audience into customers, guys. Okay, so continue to share your offers. Now, to do that, you need to have offers, right? And I don't know if there's anybody who's watching. I know there's a couple of you on here that are watching. But do you currently have multiple offers that you built out that you can promote on a weekly basis? Let me know in the chat. So one of the things I'm doing right now with some of my clients is that I'm actually helping them package these offers. Now, some people at the beginning were like, well, I have a physical product. How do I, is that my offer? No, your offer is not a physical product. Your offer is, yes, the physical product is included, but there's a lot more that you can bring to your customers in terms of, the value you give, the customer service you give, the support you provide, the information you provide, the accountability you can bring to the table. So all of those things can be added to your offer to build, this beautiful package that you can then tell people that, hey, when you buy my product, these are the things that you get along with it, and here's the price, right? So that's what, when I say an offer, that's what I'm talking about. It's not just like one thing, right? Okay, so let's go to the next one. So again, this is one of those things where I was talking about where I don't stick to the presentation. So you need to ask your audience what is important for them. What's important to your customers? Now, if you don't have a Facebook group, that's okay. You can still use some of these techniques and strategies, right? One thing that you can do if you don't have a Facebook group is you can do what we call ask campaigns, right? Where we can actually reach out to other people, or ideally your customer avatar, right? And then do some market research phone calls where you actually ask them questions, you record them. Okay, that is an important piece of doing an ask campaign. You record the answers, and then based on the evidence, you then pick what topics you're going to talk about, what offers you can make, what you can do for marketing, and all sorts of different things, right? Now, I do, if anybody's interested, I do also have a full training on that, on how to do an ask campaign from start to finish. Let me know in the chat if that's something that that would benefit you. The other sort of thing that you can do is by asking questions. You know, like, have you seen like on social media how people ask like these, you know, random questions that make no sense sometimes? Like sometimes it's like, you know, if you had this, it's that this, you know, this and this, what would you do? Or, you know, if you were stuck on a deserted island, what are two things that you would take with you, right? And so by analyzing answers that people give to those questions, you can build an idea of what is important to your customer, right? And then based on that, again, you can create content for your promotions, for your offers, for your graphics, for your trainings, all sorts of information you can gather. Let's see here. Melanie says, I will need to watch the replay. Sounds good, Melanie. Maybe you're already gone. I don't know. I don't see how many eyeballs I have right now. I have a few offers but have not packaged them. Yes, definitely something to look at, Janine, because I find when I package them well, I was able to then market them really easily using my social media posts, right? But yeah, definitely, you know, if that's something you want to have a chat about, let me know and we can chat. So, what is important to your customer? Another way that you can, whoops, let's go back. Another way that you can figure out what's important to your customer if you have a Facebook group is obviously, you know, through polls and things like that, but also if they're brand new members, those three questions, those three intake questions that you can customize in your Facebook group, you can make them, you can create the questions so that you're gathering information about what they need help with, right? Where they're at in their business or where they're at in their journey. I mean, I realize not all of you cater to business owners. Some of you are B2C, which means business to consumer kind of businesses. And so you can ask questions that's relevant to your customer persona to gather the information you need to create your offers and your marketing campaigns. Do you use polls? Yes, sometimes I do. I don't want to say I use them all the time, but I use them specifically if I have multiple options that I want people to pick from, right? The downside about polls that I find is you're basically feeding the people in your audience what you want them to say, right? Because when you put a poll, that's in your words. You're saying pick A, B, or C. So oftentimes when I do a poll, it's already based on information I've gathered from the audience. So for example, if I say, I might do a poll that says, what do you want me to train you on in the next couple of weeks? Here are, 5 different options. But for me, I create those 5 different options based on information I've already gathered from the group. Okay, does that make sense? Yeah, I hope so. Okay, so let's move on to the next one here. How do we lead our audience to a sale? Now, this is I think, an important topic because some of you, I think most of you who are here, who are going to be watching this, already know how to create content. We all know that we have to create content. We might not be doing it on a daily basis, but we all know the importance of creating content and putting it out there, right? But how do we then take those people that are engaging in our content and move them to a sales post, right? And like I said before, some people, and I see this very, very often, especially with people who do, a tangible product-based service, right? Or a product-based business where they're selling a product as opposed to a service. they would take a picture of the product and put it on their wall, post it on their social media wall. And they would do this every single day. And for me, that is no longer a strategic way to engage a customer, because we as consumers of social media, we get bombarded with information. We are, there's lots of different creative things that we come across. And for us, when we just see somebody posting a picture and saying, buy my stuff, it's no longer enticing enough for us. It's no longer exciting for us, unless it's the exact same thing that we are looking for. So let's say somebody is selling a fire hydrant. I just thought of that because I was talking to somebody about, buying a fire hydrant. So let's say I've been thinking about buying one, and then something pops up on my feed, and then I'm like, oh, I might then go and buy it. But how often does that happen? Not very often, okay? So if you're going to just randomly post things without analytics, without data, right? If you're just going to be posting pictures of your products into your timeline, hoping that somebody would buy, that's not a really good strategy, okay? You need to create, first of all, you need to create interest. Now, like I said earlier, you might be already doing that. You might be already creating lots of different content that is getting tons of engagement, that's getting, lots of likes and comments and all of this. But then when it comes to selling, you freeze, or you don't know how to take them to that sales post without feeling like you're trying to be this pushy salesperson, right? So how do we take that person to the sale? So there's actually a step that you're missing in between the creating the awareness, which is basically what we call creating interest and creating conversation, right? The engagement, or rather, the engagement inspiring posts, okay? But there's a step that you're missing in between, okay? And this is called the consideration phase based on marketing lingo, okay? That is where the person realizes that they have a problem that you can solve, and they go into this space of thinking, do I need to hire this person? Can I hire this person? Am I at the right place to hire this person? Am I ready to hire this person and push myself towards growth? All of those questions are asked usually in that consideration phase, right? So how do we lead them to the sale? First, we have to lead them through the consideration phase. That means we have to create the type of content that is going to answer the questions they are asking inside of their head. Okay, so again, knowing your ideal customer is important. So important, right? Because when you understand what those questions are that are popping up in their head, you can preempt the question and start answering them through your content. Does that make sense to you? Let me know in the comments if that makes sense. So I'm just going to flip through my notes here because I wrote some examples of what you can put down. So your offer is obviously one of them. A breakdown of your offer and telling them exactly what that offer is going to enable them to achieve, right? So actually the word that the two words that I like to use is called so that. Okay, so I'll give you an example. I could say something like, I can help you create 50 or 30 pieces of content so that you can schedule them into your Facebook group and not have to think about them, not have to think about creating them, not have to think about what to post, how to say it. I do it for you so that you can do something else with that time, right? So that you can actually answer the phone and talk to your customers, talk to your leads. So using those words, so that, to convert their problem into a solution can be really helpful in posts, right? Or in your, even explaining your offer. So if you have an offer that has, 5 different things included, right? You can say, number 1, so that result. Number 2, so that result. So you're giving them a breakdown of, with this particular solution or tool, let's say, you can actually achieve this particular solution. Your branding. Your branding is another thing that actually comes into play in this consideration phase. When I say branding, I'm not just talking about the colors of your colors in your logo. Okay, those things do sort of build some sort of authority in the eyes of the consumer, because the more defined you are in your content, in your branding feel and look, right? The more sort of confidence that you give to them that you are an established expert, right? Don't forget that. It's not just about creating solutions. People want to work with experts that are not going to waste their time, right? There's a lot of people out there that will say, oh, you can do this and this and this and this, and you take their program, and at the end of the day, you walk away with not a lot of clarity. Now, for me, I like to think of it in 2 different ways. It's not just the expert. Maybe it was me that was not ready for that information. That's why I didn't get much out of it. So, I don't want to put anybody down, but at the same time, when you can position yourself as an expert, and that's a big part of why you do these kinds of free master classes and things like that. So you can position yourself as the expert because you can give them feedback live. You can answer questions live, right? So the people that are looking at you and considering if they want to hire you, they then can understand, oh, well, this person explained the solution that I was looking for fairly easily. They know what they're talking about, right? Okay, sorry, I'm just checking my comments to make sure that I'm not leaving anybody behind. Okay, let me go back here. So your brand can play an important piece when it comes to converting your audience into a sale, into a customer, right? Now, having said that, I do want to sort of interject this idea here, or this belief. This is my personal belief. You don't need to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars on branding if you're brand new, okay? Actually, it's counterintuitive because the process of branding is based on a lot of data, right? Data that you gather about your ideal customer. And if you are a new business, you don't have that data with you. So it's okay to wait before you really iron in or really hone in on your branding. I actually did that with this particular business that I started with my marketing agency. I waited to do my branding. One, because I had done it before with the previous business where I went out, and did all the branding, spent all the money, and I mean, it did work. I'm not going to say it didn't work. It's just I had to put up a lot of money up front to get my branding done. Okay. And branding is not just about, getting a bunch of shapes and creating a beautiful logo, right? There is a strategy behind branding. A good strategist, a good branding strategist, which will actually sit you down and take you through a process where they get from you all of the information about your business so that they can custom create the look and feel for your brand. Okay, so if you're at that stage, let me know. I know somebody who is an amazing brand strategist. I will drop his name for you. You can go chat with him. But yes, don't worry so much. What I'm trying to say is don't worry so much about branding at the very beginning. You want to have that flexibility of moving things around and experimenting without being stuck in like a brand strategy, right? Like meaning without being stuck with a particular color or a font or a logo, right? So so yeah, but I'm being very honest here. It does sort of affect your ability to convert customer readers into customers. Okay, the transformation you provide, that's a huge thing, guys. So that is something that is going to help you if you have people, if you have customers, if you have former customers that you can bring as examples into your live streams, into your posts, into your graphics, and say, hey, here's what Mary from Connecticut. I'm just making up fictional characters here. Mary from Connecticut. Here's the result they got. Or Melanie from Morinville. That's not a fictional character. She's actually here. She's one of my one-on-one clients. These are the results that she's been able to get over the last 3 months. So if you can bring those examples and feature them, again, it's going to increase your credibility and increase that confidence in your readers to say, okay, this person is an expert. This person is experienced enough to know what they're doing. They, and they're seeing. At the same time, they're seeing what you're doing online. They're watching your videos. They're reading your posts. These are just sort of supporting efforts to make sure that you're answering those questions in their head. They're asking in their head in this phase. And of course, the other thing that you need to talk about is don't only just talk about your business, guys. Okay, this is one thing that where you lose a lot of your followers is if you are only marketing your business on social media. Social media is not about getting sales. It's not about marketing. Maybe something about marketing, because we all market, right? We are always all marketing. We're marketing to our kids. We're marketing to our parents. We're marketing to our friends. We might not be selling anything, but we're still marketing. We're marketing ideas. We're marketing beliefs. So I wouldn't say it's not about marketing, but social media is not just about trying to make revenue, trying to make an income. It is a platform for connections, for collaborations, for building relationships and community, guys. So make sure that you have enough information about your ideal customer so that you can talk about other things other than your amazing product, right? Talk about things that are valuable, things that are interesting, things that they are passionate about. Talk to them about those things. Bring variety into your posts. Bring variety into your social feed. That actually creates the interests as well, right? It creates interests. It builds connection between you and the person that's reading, because nobody really wants to have a surface level relationship with a service provider they are going to work with long term, right? Like, think about it. If you're, let's say your fridge broke down and you pick up the phone and you go on Google, and this, I've done this so many times, who do you actually confirm? Like, if you pick 3 different people, the chances are the person that you're going to confirm with is the person that was the most friendliest on the phone. Tell me if I'm wrong, because I know personally I've done that. I've booked service calls with professionals, like plumbers, or, something happens in my house and I need somebody to come and fix something. I've called people and I've booked appointments, and then I would go through the list because there was something in my mind that says, well, maybe you should try second, third person. I call them, and then I would call the first person and I would cancel it because I found somebody better that answered my questions better, that was friendlier, that was courteous, and that actually sounded like they cared about what issue I was having, right? So don't underestimate the power of those connections that you're making on social media. And don't treat your followers like just a number, right? They are people that are looking to transform their lives, and you are in that position of privilege that you have the ability, the skill set, the tools to help them make a difference in their life, to impact their life. So go out there and just make sure that you're keeping that human element of yourself in those posts, in the content that you're putting out. Janine says, thank you, Nilu. Have another event to go to. Great information. You're welcome, Janine. Have a great afternoon. All right, so I'm going to wrap this up really soon. This is almost at the end. Let me see. I need to change my slide, but my window has disappeared on me. Okay, there we go. Okay, so just to give you a quick recap, this is your customer journey map. Okay, this is basically when we create marketing campaigns, this is what we create it based on. So the awareness phase is basically where we create interest. Through our content, we put out information for our ideal customers to latch on to. So so basically, this video that I'm doing I can share it as an awareness level information, or I could chop it up into little segments and I could share it, right? So this is where we start. This is where your audience, your viewers would actually come into your funnel. Then we're going to go into the connection phase, right? This is where we start nurturing our audience. We start having conversations with them. We have engagement with them. We start commenting on their posts. They start commenting on our posts. So you're building a relationship or a connection. The next piece is the consideration level. This is where I was talking to you about. This is the step that most people miss, right? They try to bring people into the awareness phase, and then they try to fast track, sometimes even without going into the connection phase. They try to fast track people from the awareness phase to the conversion phase, which is basically where the sale happens. Okay, so you still need to make sure that the connection happens and the consideration happens. This is where we would, give them answer, frequently asked questions, any objections they have, those thoughts that come into your head, come into their head. This is where we do all of that. Okay, and sometimes even under the connections as well. Then we have the conversion phase where I don't know if that's spelled right, conversion. Anyway, conversion is where the sale happens. It's where money is exchanged between two parties. It's where the delivery of the onboarding happens, the delivery of the product or service happens. All of that happens in the conversion phase. Advocacy is basically once they receive your product or service, or as they're receiving your service, they will start acting as advocates for you, your brand, for your service, because they are so in love and they're so happy with the results that you're getting, that they start recommending other people to you. They start sharing their results, and therefore you start getting more sales and more conversions. Okay. And then, so those people that they bring in go into the awareness phase, and then the cycle keeps continuing, guys. So whether you're going really fast and you're trying to build, or if you're going really slow and you're taking things at your own pace, this is the cycle that will keep on bringing in more and more people into your funnel. And then as time goes, growth happens. Growth will happen automatically. Okay. So yeah, just wanted to throw that in there for you guys so that you have a visual for you, that to kind of help you understand the concepts. How do we lead our audience to a sale? Wait, that was one I already did, wasn't it? Yes. Okay. Okay. Homework. This is your homework. So here's what I want you to do. I want you, and this is something that I get my group clients to do as well. When you're creating a promotion or when you're putting out a new offer, I encourage you to do at least 10 to 15 posts to draft them out so that you can then start posting them before the doors close for your promo offer. Or you can do it either way. You can do it before the promo is released, or if it's released, or you have, let's say, an event that you're doing, like a workshop or something like that, you can do it within the timeline of, when the doors close for registration from when it's announced. So if it's ideally, you want about 2 weeks of promo time, so 10 posts, 10 to 15 posts, that would work in that consideration phase, guys. Okay, so you're gonna assume they already have the problem that you are providing the solution for, because obviously you're not gonna do a workshop if not. And then you're going to create answers to those questions that are running in their head. You're going to preempt those, and you're going to create 10 days worth or 15 days worth of content that you can then post, so that you can create the interest and then take them through to the conversion. Okay, so you can answer their questions in that consideration phase. So if you want help with this, I will be doing a workshop as well in a couple weeks. Stay tuned for that. I'm not gonna share a whole bunch about that right now, but I do want to give you a invitation to come join us at the Right Connection. This is my brand new Facebook group. I actually shut down my previous group, and I'm moving things over because of new branding, whole new set of sort of offers and things like that. So I'm moving everybody over to my brand new group. So if you were in the previous group and you haven't already joined, or if you're brand new to me and you'd like to keep in touch with, social media tips, marketing tips, and Facebook group growth hacks, join us at the Right Connection. This is actually a very sort of a unique group. We are actually launching a mastermind community in here where you will be able to, as an expert, share your expertise in exchange for expert services from other experts. Services from other experts. So come check it out. It is absolutely free to join. You can comment below if you want the link, and I'll send it to you. If not, you can go into my page, Nilu Kamis, and then the group is also linked under the community tab, I believe. But yeah, you can join through there as well. Okay, so thank you again, everybody, for joining me. I hope this was valuable for you. If there's any questions, please feel free to direct message me or comment below, and I will watch the thread to make sure that I'm answering them in a prompt way. But if there's any questions that come up as if you're watching the replay again, let me know. I'd love to sort of help you out there. Okay, thank you again for joining. Have a fantastic week, and we'll talk to you again soon. Bye-bye.